and witches. And I think what I really wanted to talk about is my work with youth and identity and coming into being of young pagans, as I'm only 21. And and how that my cultural heritage and inheritance really forms my consciousness and understanding of pagan spirituality, which of course is rooted in the earth and reverence and veneration of her holy being. I'm a member of a number of traditions. I don't call myself eclectic, I call myself syncretic, because in my mind, syncretism is done with intent and empowerment for identity and rootedness in this cosmos and the earth and my place here. I'm the co-receiver and weaver, as we like to call ourselves, of the wildwood tradition of witchcraft. And we define witchcraft as ecstasy-driven, earth-based mystery tradition, which, in all honesty, sounds a little esoteric, but what it means for us is that witchcraft is a tradition rooted in the primal shamanic indigenous European cosmology of the earth. And a lot of us believe that shamanism derives from the desire to be outside of oneself as a discrete being and to have that dissolving feeling into the oneness and allness that is nature, and that is a very Dionysian thing, and you'll find that throughout history and throughout cultural understanding and the development of paganism, that we have come from a Dionysian understanding. Nowadays religion is very what people call Apollonian, the sun and the conscious understanding of all things. We are discrete, we are separate in a way, but Dionysus, who I am a follower of, a proud follower, he teaches us that we are all one and that we can consciously and with ecstasy, so there is the ecstasy-driven, dissolve into one another and have the rhythm of the heart and the spirit drive us into communion with the divine. And then the next part of our definition of witchcraft is earth-based, which is obvious. Who are we without the earth? She's our foundation, she's our sustenance, she's our very reality. And the tangible and the seen for pagans is the direct manifestation of the power of the divine. Mystery tradition is a little difficult to define because, of course, it's a mystery, and that's what pagans love. I once had a group of Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door, and it was raining, so we invited them in because we felt sorry for them. And we had a long chat, and eventually, of course, we got to religion, and they asked us, did we feel fulfilled? And my friend and I, who was also a priestess of the Wildwood, we said that we do feel fulfilled because we are utterly in awe of the mystery of life. And though we cannot logically or rationally define it for ourselves and for others, it is infinitely known within our heart. And that's all that matters. And they wanted to know if we wanted to directly know God, and we said we did, and that every day is a blessing, and the sun rises and we are in awe. Every time I see wind flow through leaves, I am in awe. My life has always lived in awe, and I believe that's how pagans and witches consciously live their lives. We receive the awe-inspiring divinity, and we realize that it's already within ourselves, and we have that holy communion, and it's tangible, and that's the beautiful thing. And they left saying, you seem very fulfilled, we'll no longer bother you. And that was a beautiful thing. So I'm also a cultural receiver, I guess, or heir to Balinese culture. And Shay mentioned before that, yes, if you go to Bali, you'll find people selling hexes, but that is, of course, a different thing altogether. I don't speak for them. I'm part of the Balinese Hindu tradition, although I don't practice it, but I honour it, and it is a part of my identity. I'm also of Irish Celtic descent, so I don't really look Balinese or Irish. I tend to look Mediterranean, which is interesting though, because the utmost and most powerful thing for me is my connection to the Hellenic gods. So what I'm trying to hit at here is that modern paganism, and as lived in Australia, separate from the Northern Hemisphere and away from European cultural identity, is something very powerful, because we don't necessarily, we have more room and space to connect with other cultures, and especially with the indigenous cultures of these lands, because we don't have the hangover which is sometimes a problem because European culture has become dispossessed of its own inheritance. Christianity, a beautiful poetic faith, it comes from Hebrew lands in the Middle East, and Christianity, it develops from Judaism, which trace it back far enough. It was the indigenous religion. When I first arrived, I guess, at a pagan community event, I wasn't very received well. They thought I was a fluffy bunny, which in the pagan community is not the nicest word, really. It's our only insult. And you'll find, I actually wrote about it in my book because I had enough of some older people calling younger people fluffy bunnies. But to be honest, though, a lot of young witches and pagans come to the craft through movies like The Craft and through Charmed, and it's that emotional response to something mysterious, and then they delve further and further, and they realise there's true spirituality, and then it hits home, and then they've come home, as we in paganism often say. And so from an angsty position, I wrote a book. And it guided me a lot. I founded a coven in Brisbane called the Coven of the Wildwood, or co-founded. And then that was 4 years ago. But now it's stemmed into a tradition in itself, because now one of our priests has gone to the UK. He lives in Oxford. He founded another coven in our tradition. I'm moving to the Gold Coast, which is only an hour away from where I live currently, but I've already done the work of founding a coven there. And another one of our priests will soon move again and found another one. And for us, it's scattering the seeds of what we call a very ancient tradition, the Wildwood tradition, but as young and emerging as its priesthood, considering all of us are under the age of 30. And for us, the Wildwood, it's shared in the very inner place, and it's an astral realm, but it's also here in every raw, wild, untouched pocket of the green landscape that is the earth. And that is to us the Wildwood, and we share Holy Communion with it through our ritual, through our honouring of the Wheel of the Year, and through something that in the Wiccan and Pagan community we call drawing down. And that's something that I've had a lot to do with, is the resurrection and reclarification of an ancient tradition, which is otherwise known as transpossession. And for us, it's one of the most holy communions, because we can bring our deities and gods directly into our bodies and experience them palpably. And that is one of the most mysterious things to witness. And so we teach drawing down, transpossession, and the other stuff of the craft: astral projection, spellcraft, scrying, clairvoyance. All that stuff is our inheritance, our sacred shamanic inheritance. As witches, we sacred intent. As a witch, I am magically inclined. Magic to me is my way and form of spiritual connection and co-creation with the world. And as a priest, someone who is entirely devoted to the work of my tradition, but also of service. And I do not only serve my pagan community, I serve the earth, and I serve her many inhabitants. And for me, I am honoured to have had my initiation. I am honoured to be recognised at such a young age by my fellow pagans as a priest, and that's awe-inspiring in itself. But for me, those three things are mutually inclusive. A lot of people wouldn't think that a witch is a priest or a priestess. A lot of people wouldn't even know that a witch is a pagan. But for us, it's all about the spiritual communion with the earth, and I think the conscious evolution of identity. Glennis spoke about the virgin being the urge to be. Pagans exemplify that amazingly. We have an urge to be, and we have an urge to be seen and heard as a world faith tradition in equal standing with all the traditions of the earth. And I hope that through us speaking from an Australian perspective, the pagans here from the Northern Hemisphere find interesting clarity and new thought and direction, but also that the people from other traditions realise that paganism is here, and it's not going to go away, because it's been here since the beginning of human exploration of the divine. So that's my bit. Thank you.